Wherever you want to
Wherever
be.
you want.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Warm in here. A lot of hot
Yeah.
air. Just saying. Do you want to hand them out?
Yes, I will.
So, today, guys, we would like to present you our idea for the county fair to have a beer garden again. I shouldn't say again, present it to you again. Mary's just hanging and everything out for you to kind of have an idea of what we're thinking. We're gonna put it on paper. Of course, you know, reason why we're wanting to do this is we now have 13 people on the board, which you guys are aware of, which is awesome. We've had, what, 6 or 7 for a while and struggled, and now we have around 13 that are excited and wanting to do some things. And so the board's really wanting to kind of step it up and put, you know, Cheyenne County on the map, and say, hey, we want to go to that county fair. And so by doing that, you know, we want to get in some good concerts, some good acts, and we got some ideas there, and we know if you're gonna bring people in, you're gonna have to get someone pretty good. And you're gonna have to pay for that and charge that out accordingly. So, you know, the beer garden would help us offset those expenses, and hopefully we can make some money on that. As well as just, you know, some people wanting to go to the fair and have a beer and just relax. And so, that's the idea, of course, like we've had forever on thinking about the beer garden. So we, you know, we want to offer or not offer, or ask for possibly 2 nights, if this is, again, whatever you guys decide. Possibilities could be, you know, at the Ranch Rodeo, or Thursday night or Friday night would be the concert, and Saturday night is the Derby tractor pull. So, yeah, we're asking for 2 nights. Again, whatever you guys decide, we totally will follow and understand and support your decision. Some of the rules, you know, we were just thinking as far as the general guidelines. As you can see there, have it either, you know, Ranch Rodeo, Derby, concert night. We'd have it north side of the fairgrounds. We got a little map on there. Just have it out back north. You know, completely partitioned off. We've got those restrooms out there that would be right in that area. So that would be in that area. One thought is during the concert, such as like what Benkelman does up there, is if we partitioned, you know, maybe half of the standing room down front off, that, you know, so they could enjoy the concert. They could be on one side and everybody else would be on the other that, you know, weren't of age and didn't want to, you know, have a beer. It's just a thought. So with that being said, north side beer garden be constructed, cattle panels, of course, 1 entrance, an exit, monitored by security, 21 years of age, carded at entry, sign a waiver, must have a wristband to drink, and only beer would be served in a can. Keep it simple. Got to remain inside the designated area. No beer leaves it. Beer garden opens when event starts, and 30 minutes before last call before it ends. So we're not going to have that open all night. It's just going to be, you know, that for the event. We're not going to put any tables or chairs up. It's standing room only.
Wow.
So, you know, it's going to be a couple hours. I mean, you know, they can stand around for a couple hours. If they don't, they can go sit in the bleachers and sit down and not have a beer. We would have to provide our own security. We'd help, and that's what Cody was coming here today, that if you have any questions on that, support us, but we would have 2 at the gates, 1 person there to sign waivers, 3 bartenders, and 1 at the exit gate. Mary, you want to kind of, you and Cody talked a little bit more about that part?
Well, yeah, I asked Cody because I didn't know for sure if they would police it and do the carding. And as I understood him to say, no. They have too much going on. So as a fair board, we will have to police this. And, you know, as a bartender and you're serving people and they're drinking, it is legally our right to say no more. mean, that's legally, we need to be able to do that. And
Kinda like a regular bar or whatever.
absolutely. And in saying this, the bartenders, I think, that we'll probably put in place will be people that know the community members mainly, if you follow me. And they will stand and say, they'll have to leave. We want it to be a good thing. It's a social thing. And I think anyone that's coming in there wanting to drink should socially drink if they're gonna do it, not to just come to get blitzed. It's a good time. It's a, well, how should I say it? A fair is like you're celebrating your whole year of work. A lot of times people come to fair. That's the biggest event of their life in the summertime. Past 4-H members, it's kind of like a reunion. And I look at it more as a social thing. Other than that, we're trying to have some fun things for our entertainment, and they cost. And I think the revenue from this could help defer a lot of that cost, guys. I'm new to the board. I don't know how all this money works. If we're allocated money for these things or not. But I think this could help us bring in good entertainment.
Well, I, for one, would like to, I hope we're not gonna have to vote on this today, because I'd like to at least show
Absolutely not.
people in District 1 as to what they would think, what they would want me to vote.
Absolutely.
If I might just interject, this is the most comprehensive proposal in regards to having a beer garden. And so I think it would be prudent on our behalf to go ahead and submit this to the insurance to see what the
Absolutely.
position is, let the commissioners visit with those in their district in regards to their opinion.
I think that
And
would be
table it
wise.
for now.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No.
But like I said, this is the most comprehensive that has been received thus far, so, it's my opinion, those are the steps that we should go through.
Sure.
And then it's always ultimately the commissioner's decision, but
Absolutely. We just want to present it and let you guys hash it over.
Yeah. And
Whatever you guys decide.
we will respect it.
Yep, absolutely.
Absolutely. Do you have questions, any of you guys?
No, I don't. It looks like you've, checked everything out pretty good, and you've talked with the sheriff on it, and
Yes, and if you have questions for Cody, do it. I mean, visit with him too. Like I said, I was just unsure on how all this, legally, if
How it works,
they
yeah.
had to, be there to police it or what have you. But,
I know
We
one thing
appreciate-
you need to think about is, once you take beer from the liquor store, you can't take it back.
true story.
So whatever leftover beer you have, you're gonna have to find a way.
Yeah.
That's true,
Yes, sir.
And you
Roger.
could have 400 beers or.
Yeah.
It's hard to figure that out.
It
And then,
is.
Have you thought how many dollars you're gonna make on a beer?
Well, we're not gonna, no, we really didn't discuss that. I don't think we need to lowball it. I mean, I really don't know what a 30-pack costs even, to be honest.
why are you looking at me?
Well, I'm just saying, beer is not my choice of a drink, so, I would think,
Well, I think,
Five?
aren't they around $1 a beer if you buy a case of beer?
Well, I think that
or
might be
whatever?
kind of getting the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
yeah.
But,
I don't
but
know,
as far as income,
Roger,
I
but that's
understand
a
that
good-
completely. If we made $4 a beer,
What I'm saying is,
yeah.
you think you're gonna make a lot of money.
Right.
Are you gonna make
Right.
a lot of money? I don't know.
I don't know.
If you have $4 a beer at the most and you sell 1,000 beers, that's $4,000, a night. I mean, that's probably pretty good guess.
in any of those gardens that and I haven't frequented a lot of them, but usually it's state fair or like at the national shows that our kids showed in, we'd go and have a beer. They served mixed drinks, that's what I had, and they were pretty pricey.
Okay.
They were like, I'm thinking $8-9 for a mixed drink and at least $6-7 for a beer.
Denver doubled that this year.
You know,
It was crazy.
You guys might ask Cale Dankenbrink,
Right.
because he ran our beer garden for our motorcycle rally.
right.
And I don't know how he did it, but I think that may be a good resource for information.
And he would be a good one to hunt.
Yeah, I know we quit doing it because it really didn't, yeah, it didn't, like, and then we'd be stuck with a whole bunch of leftover.
Well, Roger's right on that, totally.
Well,
You've got to kind of think that through.
I almost wish, I'm not saying I'm against the beer garden or for it, but I wish that we could do like, there's some counties in Colorado, the people voted and they have a mill levy that goes to the fair for entertainment only. And that's how they get those big bands in and they.
Probably is.
It's a mill levy.
Yep.
And that would have to be voted on,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Okay.
But down the road, it might be worth a try to see what people think, if they would like to have nice entertainment at the fair.
True. Yeah,
Because, you know, we've tried the $5,000 bands and they don't work. They just, there's no name, there's no recognition, people just don't support us.
and we do run into this, and that's the nature of it. A lot of county fairs rolling at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
And they
And-
have it and you don't.
Well, in some instances, I think our county fair is awesome. I do, I always have. We have a lot of great things going, but, you know, this might be something that will work and it might not work.
Only one way to find out, kind of.
But we appreciate your
Yep.
time.
Thank you, guys.
What you thought of the bylaws.
Oh, absolutely. We appreciate that a
Yes,
lot.
we need it.
Yeah, that's great for us.
There used to be bylaws, we can't find them.
Right.
Don't know what happened to them.
That would give us, you know, more direction. I read them over, Brett gave me the other night, read them over
Did you have
at
any
the meeting.
questions for what he had on there?
Well, I did, in regards to the membership, I did change that because
Okay.
it's my understanding from years past that the membership was supposed to be 5 members per commissioner district. So
Up
that
to
I changed
15.
to 15.
Yep.
Okay.
In regards to the meeting schedule, you had set forth what your meeting schedule is, but what I have in the bylaws is that by the 15th, you'll present the meeting schedule to the commissioners so that it could be published on the website for the county.
Prior to the meeting, the 15th of the month prior to the next
Well,
meeting.
no.
Just
By
in a
January
year.
15th, you'll have the whole year.
Oh, okay. I
Okay,
thought each month.
and the reason that I did it that way is so that if it should so happen that the fair board wanted to change the meeting schedule, then we aren't amending the bylaws. Okay, so that gives you some liberty in regards to your meeting schedule.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't put a budget request in here, appropriation. And then, I will get with you guys in regards to the waivers that you're looking at and wanting to discuss.
Oh, right.
We can set up a time
Perfect.
to discuss that, and then, and I apologize, I'll have to go downstairs and I did correct that, but I didn't bring the one with me. I can just email it to you guys, if that works.
Email it, yeah, to.
Yep.
And what was the other thing? What did I do with it? According to the auditors, it is an appropriation, so it can be used for entertainment.
Okay,
The money.
okay.
I got that verification last week.
But we want to be pretty conservative in that, we
Exactly.
still gotta put on the fair, we don't wanna put 10,000, 20,000 in a concert.
Right,
No,
right.
I mean, we gotta go, if we're gonna try to bring in a nice band or group, we're gonna have to raise money, get
Right,
sponsors.
get sponsors, et cetera, but I just wanted to let you know that we did get a clarification on that from the auditors. So, the only thing that really changed from the one that you had reviewed is the number of members.
Yeah, we
Okay.
thought it looked pretty darn good.
Okay, good. Well, and as it shows, you know, if you want to take this to your next meeting, which is next week,
It is Monday.
yeah, if you want to take this to your meeting next week, and then if the board wants to go ahead and approve as is,
Yep.
then go ahead and we'll ask for 2 copies, 2
Okay.
originals. And then at the next commissioners meeting, the
Yep.
commissioners can approve it, and we finally have some bylaws.
Yep.
Good.
Okay?
So you wanna,
We went through about 2 or 3 different counties' bylaws.
That's wise.
Yeah.
And we
You wanna
took
go
them here and
downstairs?
here.
uh-huh,
And
That's
ask
good,
Kelly to
guys.
go on the computer and
Thank you
print
for that
you
work.
2 of these.
2 of
2
these.
copies.
And tell her that in section 2, make sure it says 15 members and not 9.
Yep.
That's the version that needs to be printed.
Okay.
And she can get that for
Like
you.
this.
Do that?
All right?
Oh,
Great.
thank you.
And
Alright.
you're receiving $25,000 this year. You should have received 90% of that. And then
Okay.
like June, somewhere in there, I think you get the other 2%.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for your time, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
2 nights is what you're wanting.
Sorry, what's that?
The 2 nights is what you really would like on the beer garden, right? Thank you for coming in
Thank
and
you.
what you do.
Thanks.
See you guys.
Thanks, Cody.
See you,
Were
bud.
you out yesterday?
Yeah. Okay. Steve, come on up.
How's everybody doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing well.
What happened to the treasurer? First one, county treasurer.
Oh, we can call her in.
I haven't talked to her, it doesn't matter when she
Oh,
comes.
okay.
Oh, okay, I'm jumping ahead.
No,
The end of January's expenditures and budget numbers
Okay, see you.
for road and bridge, and then there's the landfills too.
What's Nanotron Incorporated?
That's our road and bridge program for the computer software, I think. Kelly uses that.
That's a yearly deal probably.
That I'm not sure. I would assume it is, yes.
How's that electric car working?
Still waiting for it to arrive.
Still waiting for it?
Yes, and I don't get my phone calls returned when I inquire, so I'm gonna continue to. I thought it would take a while, but I also thought it would be here by now. And we did sell the, little short belly dump trailer that we haven't been using. That went on auction, that's listed on the bottom there. And it went for $91.76. If there's not any questions, any more questions, I can continue? Okay. Next item is a highway permit request from BW Telecom out of Binkelman. They're doing a fiber optic project, quite a few locations up in Nebraska, but then also a location up in the northeast part of Cheyenne County. Be along Road 30 from, I believe that's BB.5 south to Road Y, and just a little beyond that, ending at Alvin Loop's place down there. It'll be a cable buried with conduit when it's crossing, any culverts are crossing the road. Any of those crossings will be bored, and it'll be a minimum of 42 inches in depth, and it'll be along the edge of the road. It'll go down, for the first part, coming from the north going south, it'll be along the west side as it makes the jog around Showers Place, and then as it's straightened back out, continuing south, it'll be over across on the west side.
Did you say along the road,
On the edge of the road.
on the edge?
Yeah, well, basically, you're gonna have the edge of the road, it'll be just inside on the road. And we've had, I think AT&T has done that before on Road 21, that was 2 summers ago,
Does that affect elevating the road, or?
anytime you have anything in the right of way or in the road, there's a potential for issues, you know, of course, with the road, if you start losing your road and your depth drops over time, that's a concern. Now, 42 inch, that's a minimum of 42 inches, so it
Oh, 40.
could
I thought it
go
was
deeper.
48, wasn't it?
Pardon?
I always thought it was 48 inches, but
We could request that.
I think it's up to you to decide on that.
And they are gonna have since it's a rather large project, they are gonna have a pre-construction meeting in Benkelman on February 6th. And I could attend that and ask any other questions we might have and point out maybe we wanna see a depth increase too.
That's pretty deep anyway, isn't it, 42 inches?
The deeper the better, I would agree.
What are all these lines? Are those underground stuff, all that stuff, are these red lines?
That I'm not sure what those are. The ones that would be the red line going along the road. That's gonna, of course, be the new fiber optic cable that they're gonna bury. I don't know if that's, yeah, I'm not sure what those are meant to show.
my only concern is right off the road. I mean, if we have some roads erosion or anything, who's gonna be responsible if this line gets broke or punctured at all? Would be my concern. So,
And that's possible in some of those locations because there is a hill.
runoff, isn't there?
Yeah, well, you get into where the road zigzags through there, there's potential for that.
Isn't that whoever punctures it?
Well, that's the concern. I mean, it's like call before you dig,
Yeah,
you know?
that's what I say, if they don't
Okay, it
call,
may be
it's
here,
there.
but how deep is it? How? I've just seen cables come up on the river road. Because there were some old wires up
A number of
around.
locations where
Yeah.
it's, and I've contacted the point person that has responded in the past, and here in the last several months, 6 months, I'm not getting any responses. We're like on Road 3. There's also a couple other locations in the county, same thing, no response. And these are cables that have been cut and still laying in the road. They've repaired, since repaired them, but they're still
Personally, I
laying.
think I'd like you to attend the February
Before
6th
we-
meeting and maybe get us a little bit more info.
Sure.
I may even drive up there and see, because it just concerns me if it's right beside the road.
Does this road have pretty good elevation on it?
If you're gonna go, give me a call, I'll go
It's-
with you.
It's okay, but in places, it's not.
If I'm gonna go, I
You know,
think I
could
want
use some
him to
ditch
go.
work and
Let me see what it is.
Cause this will be down in the ditch, right?
where the cable's going? No, it'll be up on the
Up on
road.
the road.
Yep. He basically said it'll be where your right tire's tracking, it's like if you're heading south or north, it'll be 1.5 foot in from the road edge.
What time is that meeting on Monday the 6th?
It is February 6th, 10:30 Mountain Time,
Okay.
at the Binkelman Telephone Office, downtown. We'll just go ahead and table this until,
That's what I would do. What do you guys think? You good with this?
Yeah, I'm good with it too, you find out more.
Is it 2301 permit?
2023-01.
Okay.
Okay, the next item, there's some, purchases we have had to make. We were out of grater blades. We did get 3 bids, and we put an order in for 2 sets of grater blades, a total of 8 blades, and they're $405 a piece was the low bid from Wellborn, totaling $3,240. And the other 2 suppliers were wear parts and equipment blades, and they came in at $453 and $740 respectively. And the equipment blades, that's the reason that's so high. The only blade they carry is an inch thick blade. It's a little bigger, heavier blade. They don't carry the ones that we've been using and having a fair amount of luck with. At some point, we've talked about maybe trying the bigger 1-inch blade. They do cost a little more from the other suppliers. But right now, we've been running, just trying to keep them all the same, but
So Wellborn's the cheapest.
yes.
You need a motion to,
Yes.
I move we purchase the grater blades from Wellborn at $405 a blade.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of 8 blades from Wellborn. Wellborn. Everybody in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the next item, one thing we do need to do is some more repair work, if you will, is get some of our windshields replaced on graders, and also at some point on some of the trucks that we run for gravel trucks. We've got several that have, well, one that is broken on one of the graders. It's being held together by duct tape right now. Make sure it doesn't completely come apart. But we did have 2 more, a windshield and another smaller piece of glass on the front of one of our 140Hs that found out yesterday needs to get replaced, and we need to get the final prices on all that. We were planning to get the glass from Cat. We've tried to get some of those repairs done in the past in Goodland, and the guys, they didn't last. We're suspecting it's a little different, little thinner glass, so we'd like to go with out of Foley. They're gonna deliver the glass themselves. Mark Polifka will bring it up, our shipment, if you will, and then we're gonna have it installed here in town from, I think Jacob is.
Church.
Yeah, Church, yes. We've been in contact with him, and we're gonna make sure that's still gonna work for him, but initial talks with him is he would do the installation for us. So we could just take the doors off, or he can need to come up.
How you doing?
And it'll just be right here in town. We don't have to take anything clear down to Colby or Goodland to get done.
What's your total estimate on that?
Well, we're up to, like I said, 3157, but that's not including 2 more windshields. A windshield that's extremely pitted. We get in the sunlight, very difficult to see if you're driving in the morning. That's a hazard. And then the lower left front window on that is cracked. I could see it. Here's an H. Yeah, I'm not sure which window on 101 is broken. Just trying to get you a rough estimate on what on these additional 2 would cost, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I need to wait to hear back fully. And then I think we can turn that into insurance. We talked a little bit about that.
I think I was supposed to call and I forgot, but I'll do that today.
Okay. Would you need a estimate before we?
Yeah, at least a number, like graders and trucks.
Okay. All right, I'll get that to you.
You could turn it into insurance for, what would that be called?
Well, it'd be a safety. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're
No, but
asking,
I
I
mean wear
guess.
and tear.
It's just damage.
Damn,
I just
well,
don't know. A lot of insurance
Accidentally.
companies are dropping fixing windshields.
they've done what?
A lot of insurance companies have dropped fixing windshields, so I don't know what K-Camp will do anymore.
Oh, for the coverage on it? Okay. All right. Okay, and then one final item is back to the extended warranty on the 12M2, the 2014 grader. And we talked about that at the last meeting, and try and make a decision, I guess, on which, one way or another, if we'll try to extend that, or just let it expire. I think it ends on February 12th.
Steve, can you come back in a little later after we deal with these people?
Sure.
Because we got some other things we want to visit with you about. We need to move on.
Oh, yeah.
You
No,
have-
that'd be great.
Would that work or not?
Yeah, that way we don't have to hurry through it.
Yeah,
Yep.
we need, take some
Perfect.
time, okay?
Okay,
Work for
Let's-
you guys?
Yeah,
let's
that's
do
fine.
that.
Other than get out of here, please.
All right. I'm going. I'll be back after that then. Okay.
Come on up, Eddie.
Eddie?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning. I'll introduce myself as one of these people. We are here to try to get that project back on track up there of getting that water damage going. There've been several issues that have happened. Some of it's lack of communication on our part, everybody's part. I mean, that's standard. I mean, we all accept that. And I was out of town when it happened. It happened at 6 a.m. on Christmas morning. And Daphne did everything. She got everything in motion, and we give her a lot of credit. We feel like she did everything correct to get the people out. And Brian was called, and then at some point you were notified. I don't know if Ryan or...
Ryan knows.
Okay. So anyway, And I don't know how she got a hold of Dan Wilkins, but he came up and started to mitigate the damage. He started taking stuff out. And he took a lot of that flooring out because it's got like a foam rubber inlay between the layers. And when they walked on it, it was squishy, so it needed out of there. And so we feel he was doing what needed done to cut the losses. And I indicated to Scott early on that this isn't a standard way to step into an insurance claim. I mean, because that's not the normal steps. But what do you do on Christmas morning? So,
gonna be around,
yeah. And so we feel that she did everything it needed done, and we feel that lucky that Dan was able to come and do what he did. The firemen came and helped. I mean, it was a mess. And so that part we feel, all went well. And then K-Camp, there were some issues there, and it doesn't really matter what that was, but they wanted Dan fired, and that happened. But at some point then K-Camp had Service Master come in, and Dan gave us this detailed of the work he did. Have you seen that?
Yeah, we all have one.
Okay, good. And he told me that he ran that through the software on his computer and plugged in these numbers, and all the results were, something that's standard in the business. And I haven't verified that. I don't know about that. But we feel that he did everything indicated on this bid sheet. We do have a concern though, because we don't know what Service Master did. This bill's $31,000, Service Master's $25,000. And we don't feel that Service Master did much. The only thing we observed him doing personally was they were scraping out the adhesive off the floor where that had been picked up. And I don't know, I went up there one day at 2:30 to talk to him and see what was going on. Well, they'd been there for 4 hours that day, and then they were gone for the day, so I couldn't contact them then. And so I don't know whether they removed some more sheetrock. We don't know what they did. We don't feel they were very productive. But
It's still not put back together right now.
no, there hasn't been anything done for 4 weeks. Nothing. And the paint should be dry. We should all have forgotten about this a long time ago.
Am I allowed to interject as well?
Yes.
As it's a healthcare facility, it's a long-term care facility, and we had state in our building last week. And unfortunately, when things like this happen, they give me a timeline that I have to follow, and every day that I'm not following that timeline is a monetary fine on our facility. So it's unfortunately a race against the clock. If I had my way, no, not a single one of my elders would be in that building because it's not safe. It's not worth $5,000 a month that they're paying to live there. But if they're out for more than 7 days, their long-term care insurance goes, oh, they don't need the care, and they'll never be allowed to come back. So there's just a lot of timelines that with my license I have to follow, a lot of regulations that I have to follow that we're not following, and it's way too long of a wait, and my license is on the line.
So, she was second guessed at some point for even moving them out temporarily. Well, that's protocol. And it's a healthcare facility. There's things that have to be done. And so I don't know. We waited. One thing K-Camp required was an asbestos test before anything could be done. Well, it's a new construction, and that was, 5 days, 6, I don't know, but that was one delay that just plugged in here that we don't need. And there was some miscommunication with the fire sprinkler people from Hayes to come get that done. So that fell through the cracks for a while. And then Scott requested these construction companies from K-Camp for potential contractors for repairs. And that took some time to get those. One of them's Stevens Construction out of Colby, one of them's Miller Construction out of Goodland. Miller Construction was a subcontractor, and we were not satisfied with his work at all, so we're not interested in dealing with him again. And we've talked to 3 contractors, and one has since withdrawn his he just, it's too much, he didn't have time to do it. And we don't have anything from Brock yet. James Mellinger is working on a bid as we speak. And he can start now or 3 or 4 weeks after. He can put us in front of a project that he needs to start. So we can get in there now. If not, it'd be 3 or 4 weeks. And it's already been 4 weeks when nothing has happened up there. And, I don't know whether there's a loss of revenue clause in this insurance. And I don't know that, because
They
it,
asked that day about it when the adjuster was there, so.
The inconvenience of not having this work done now, is that the main part, or is that a legal thing that you have to have
Yeah, I mean,
have done?
inconvenience is a nice way to put it, because it's unsafe. There are
So
trip hazards.
so it is unsafe,
Yeah.
you're
It
saying?
needs to be, yeah, I have people with walkers and wheelchairs that can't get over bumps, and the floor is still sticky. They swear they removed that adhesive, but my boots are still sticking. I think your boots are still sticking, and our elders cannot have this environment.
and that is something that Service Master was supposed to do, was clean that adhesive off. Well, it didn't, because
You still stick.
so.
I know that, because I walked into some.
Yeah.
And so, yes, the residents and their families were accepting of the fact to start with, but some of those are disgruntled now because there hadn't been any activity for 4 weeks, and I get that. So I don't know if we're gonna have to give them a discount going forward, I don't know, but see, there's hundreds of feet of that temporary flooring, like 30 inches wide or something, all over, runners all over. But that's taped down, and all of those are trip hazards for anybody. They try to keep them taped down, but, sometimes those edges work loose. And with walkers and
Well,
people that shuffle worse than I do, it's a problem. And, it's a safety issue.
from the front door to just a little bit beyond the kitchen area, all that flooring's out. So you have those where there's no flooring up to the flooring, and also the rooms in that area, there's no flooring up to the flooring. That's
So it's,
bad tripping hazards.
it's bad news. It really is.
I've had my sprinklers fixed for a week now, but I can't turn them on or run water through them because there's no heat in one of the rooms. So we've been on fire watch for over a month now, which is also a big fire marshal hit and a state issue as well.
Because those 24-hour-a-day fire watches are for temporary things, not for months at a time. And we all understand that.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of at a standstill, I guess.
That's why I requested those other contractors, just in case you run into getting bids. Doesn't mean you have to use them.
Well, I understand, and we appreciate any input.
So James Millinger is gonna get you a bid? but
He's working
He can
on
also
it.
come in immediately?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's working on it as we speak. He left me a message on my way up the steps here, and I need to call him back. He wanted to verify some of the scope of work. And,
Was something done wrong in the construction to have this happen?
well, it was a fluke. And,
Did Goodland have the same problem with a building?
Different kind of issue at their new one, same
Okay.
construction company, but wasn't exactly the same. Low up.
Water problem though,
Yeah,
because
when
of
the
freezing?
sprinkler people did come though, they rerouted our sprinkler system a little bit, so it was a little bit further away from our outer walls.
I see.
But James came through and fixed something last week to hopefully ensure this will not happen as long as I'm here at least.
Did all the insulation, yes.
Yeah.
Good.
So it
I saw
was
that come
a
through.
problem that they caused. That's kinda aggravating to me. That's the first really cold snap we had, and then the pipes freeze
New construction.
on a new construction.
Infuriating.
And
Yeah.
not been, how old has it been? What is it?
5. Yeah.
And that's really the first cold snap we had.
We need to get somebody in
But
there.
I'm sorry, I don't
doing
know
this.
what to, I don't know where we're supposed to go, I guess.
and as far as,
Well, K-Camp has sent out the scope of work so that they can get bids, so that's,
and see, it took a long time to get that, but I would have liked to have been involved when a K-Camp rep was here, so you can walk around, yes, no, or you need to take more sheetrock out on this wall, some of those things. That 15 or 17 pages, whatever, to try to sort through all that, as to, okay, they allowed this many square feet in this room. Well, are you gonna go up there and measure what has been taken out? I mean, it's mind-boggling to try to sort through that. And there's a few things that we can't determine. Rod and I have been through that, spent a lot of hours on it.
So-
They haven't done, it's not included to replace the wall directly above where that break was. They took out one side of the sheetrock, but they didn't think the other side needed taken out. And since then, that paint is bubbling all because there's water in that sheetrock. So that's one thing that was a conflict with what we felt should have been done and wasn't. So that's one area that wasn't done. Dan took out the 6-inch molding around all the places where he picked up flooring because that water was there and in the bottom of that sheetrock. And he had put a string line around there, and he was gonna cut out like 5 inches of that sheetrock and let those bottom of those studs and that plate dry out. Well, that's when he was stopped. And so that had never been done, so that wall around all that was never opened up to dry. And so that could be an issue. And they agreed, that main room that he's talking about, and then it went down both hallways past the kitchen a ways, so that flooring is out of there. But there's been a discussion about we can't match that flooring, that hallway, the rest of that flooring needs to come out of that hallway in that U-shaped part. I mean, that's a no-brainer, and somebody at K-Camp indicated, yes, they'd do that, but that's something that isn't in their scope of work. And so it's been complicated to try to sort out what is and isn't in their scope of work. And
So the way I understand it, we're waiting on estimates and to approve the estimate, or estimate, and then move forward. That's all we're waiting on?
yes, or as far as I know, right?
I think they need to come back out. I think their scope of work does not cover what we need done.
But to get it going and get somebody in there,
But to
then
get
get them.
somebody going.
So the guy I talked to one was out of Michigan, one was out in Kansas City when I went up there. And.
So you actually met, so you've
Yeah,
never had
so
a chance to meet them.
they were just like, you get her done. You guys need to get it done. And you don't even need to take bills. And I was like, well, we have to because the building's paid for through the county. And so if we're just being held up by bids, if you get bids this week, whatever, we can probably call an emergency meeting to get this done, because it's really important.
And here's where we're at on the bids. Like I say, Boone from Bird City, he's withdrawing his bid. Brock was supposed to get me a bid on that modification. And we met with Brock and James up there at different, I guess they were there together, weren't they, Rod?
Yeah.
To get it buttoned back up, get the sheetrock on, get the insulation back in the ceiling like it needs to be, get that done, and then mess with the, get that part done. And Brock has not gotten back to me on that modification part of it, and since we've moved on, and it's been completed. I mean, Mellinger came in and did it, and it's been paid for. And so waiting on Brock to come up with a number to do this other work, I don't know. It's hard to get bids. It just is.
Especially in this end of the county, yeah.
Yes. And as far as flooring, we need a list, I guess, of what's acceptable to get bids from flooring. There's not many choices in this area, and Brian Vittston from Commercial Flooring Incorporated, Hayes, Kansas, put the flooring in originally, and it was a terrible job. We fought with him for weeks, and it wasn't right when he left. And so he's not an option. Lighthouse has done work for us in the past. Scott says if he does the work, he's not paying it, and so
We were just talking about how bad,
I never said that.
because we had spoken about when you were in that one day, about just what some of the stuff has looked like and how it's not really an option.
So we're stymied, for lack of a better word. And it's terrible. I mean, we have an obligation to get that back in for the residents and their families, to protect Daphne's license. I mean, there's fingers reach out every direction from this mess. We want to get it back on track and get it going.
You might contact the hospital. I can't remember who they had do their flooring down there, but
Okay.
they'll be able to get you somebody.
And part of that is, K-Camp's number's $114,800, I think. Wow. And, to fix this, there's 31 on Wilkins' bid, there's 25 on, Service Master, and it's probably $5,000 what Hayes Sprinkler did there. We don't know, we don't have a number there yet.